Hey, welcome to another episode of the Sputter Games. For those of you who've been following us, last week we started our expedition through Dungeon Crawl Classics with our guest judge, Mr. Dominic, Mr. Adventurous GM, whom I'll introduce in just a moment. But before we get to all of that, let me introduce myself. I am Dave, or DM Dave, as I'm known around these parts. You can follow me on Dave's World Games on Instagram, or you can follow me. I'm Dave Spaeth on Facebook. Follow the Sputter Media Facebook page as well. Follow everything and everyone. We also have a Discord channel that we're trying to get people to start joining for those who are following us there. That about sums up me and who I am. You know who I am. You've been following us for a while. And so tonight, I'll go ahead and kick it over to our guest judge to introduce himself. He's going to carry us through this fatal funnel, this level 0 funnel of Dungeon Crawl Classics, which is how these adventures begin, which has definitely been quite an interesting it was an interesting start, I gotta say, but we'll get to that more when we talk to everybody. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Dominic.
Hey folks, I'm Dominic, also known as the Adventurous GM. Most important place you can find me is on startplaying.games as the Adventurous GM. I run a variety of games. I'd say I specialize a little bit in Pathfinder First Edition, but I have a pretty wide range. And having a blast playing some Dungeon Crawl Classics with these guys. Like I said last week, you're going to hear plenty of my voice today, so I'm going to take this opportunity to shut up and pass the microphone to our excellent players.
That's my bad. I was taking a
Not
hit.
I
thought Dominic would take a little bit longer, so I was taking a little bit of a hit. Yes. Anyway, reminder, ladies and gentlemen, this is a 420 friendly stream, and I do live in a state where it is legal, so Twitch doesn't have a problem with it as long as it's not a crime where I live. It is not.
I live in a country where it's life in prison, so I will not be smoking on stream.
Right. But I tell you what, if you did, we wouldn't turn you in on purpose.
I appreciate that. No narcs in this stream.
Absolutely not. Okay, that being said, Bailey and the Bailey, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Bailey. You can find me at FloralGypsy25 on Instagram or at Bailey on Discord if you're looking for me there. I'm here to play this fun game I'm really excited about. I don't want anybody to die, though. I really don't want anybody to die.
Well, we already lost one.
A true tragedy.
It is not going to get less lethal, so your wish will not be granted. Unless you guys do some magical stuff and, absolutely Metal Gear wizard your way through this thing. Most likely we're going to see some more deaths.
Or keep playing like Reggie, who just fucking cowers and lets everybody else handle it.
I'm just concerned about who I'm going to lose and who I'm going to keep. You know what I mean? Because I don't have a bias. I don't know which one I want more.
I'm just going to say, unless the GM starts hunting me, Reggie's probably going to survive. Because I'm not changing the way that character behaves. Anyway, could you finish your intro? God damn.
I see my time. That was really all. You can find me on Discord and on Instagram. I said those things. I'm here to play.
Fantastic. All right. Let's kick it over to Naga Naga. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Naga.
Hey everybody, I'm Naga, otherwise known as Eric. otherwise known as Nagatsu, Nagatsu 11, Nagatsu Seiken, which you can find me just about anywhere under that moniker. Feel free to message me, hit me up, ask me any questions, what have you. I'm happy to talk to just about anybody.
Excelente. Alrighty then. And last but not least, we're going to kick it over to Joe.
Hello, everyone. Vexen, Joe, whatever you want to call me. Just don't call me late for dinner. I don't have a social media presence.
But
I don't have a social media presence. But in lieu of that, I'll give you guys a fun fact. I have a 215-pound puppy. So that's all I'll say.
That's crazy.
I mean, I guess that. So do they tweet your puppy or what's up with that? Or it's not called tweets anymore. What do they call them now on X?
Oh,
I have no idea.
I know Trump's thing is he's got truths.
That's so Orwellian.
It is, especially because he's currently under criminal trial for not truthing. Yes, the guy who calls everything fake news has been proven to have been paying for fake news, and I love this. It's not a question of whether or not he did it. The jury doesn't have to decide whether or not he did it. Was it a crime? That's what has to be decided. Not to get into politics, I know I'm tipping the line here, but still, just saying the irony of just the fact. No, it's not that he. Whether he did it isn't in question. It's just, was it a crime? Like, this is so ridiculous. I'm just. We are literally living in 1984 today. It's a truth. There's my truth. Post it. Anyway, before we get too much deeper into it, let's get even more dystopian and go to our corporate sponsor, W Energy Drink, the energy drink of the future. It's a powdered energy drink, comes in a tub kind of like Kool-Aid tubs, and you mix it up with a shaker. Sounds really good. Sounds kind of like this when you shake it up. And there's amazing flavors, and if you use our checkout code Purple Nurple, you get 10% off your order, and Sputter Media gets 10% commissions. So you can help support this channel by getting yourself a fantastic sugar-free, GMO-free, something else free. Jitter-free, there we go. Energy drink, which is perfect for gamers. Gotta love a drink that doesn't give you the shakes. And you can go to dubby.gg or even follow the code, which I saw Naga just popped into the chat for us, and it did work this time. You actually, we get, if you use the link that we send you, then we get like a subscriber bonus in addition to the commission of your order. So please do reward yourselves and reward us for the content we bring you. All right. That being said, before I kick it over to Dominic to continue, I kind of want to talk as a group, as players. Fuck off Judge, GM, whatever we want to call him. He can go sit in the corner for a second. And I think we as players, let's talk about our experience so far. I know we did like our own little stars and wishes session at the end, but that was off air. And I don't want to do like a whole stars and wishes session, but I want to hear your guys' feedback on the system so far. And let's start with character creation. Let's talk about how character creation went. I will start by saying, obviously, it went very quickly. That was incredible how quickly we were able to get everybody having their characters ready to go. We got all that done in the first half of the show last week. So that was really, really cool. And even though we did the just the quick random drop from the purple Purple Sorcerer games, the for the remaining extra characters that we were taking into our level 0 funnel. Just the creation of 4 players, 4 characters, it went freaking quick, way faster than I expected. So that was a really cool aspect, I thought, which I think is probably necessary for a system like this, where you plan to take in a bunch of mooks in and see what makes it out at the end. But I want to hear everybody else's thoughts. That was my initial thing that I thought I'd bring up, how quick character creation was. But I want you guys to talk about other aspects of the game as well. What did you think?
Well,
I love.
aside from being quick, there was also a good bit of hilarity in it, for me at least. Just rolling the dice and seeing how incomprehensibly bad some characters can be.
And I remember doing this in other older D&D systems where you did you just did the roll your 3d6, go straight down the middle, and then doing 4d6, taking the highest became a thing, and then doing all of the stats and then just assigning them became a thing. But no, this was like really old school, where it was just like, yep, nope, roll the dice, there's the stat, roll the dice, there's the stat, like, oh shit, here we go, okay, this guy's gonna die.
I especially love how random it was with like the jobs and stuff like that, where everybody's job is diverse. There's not a single one of us that has the same job as somebody else, I don't think. So we all got like really different like things that you could be. A barber's not ever something that I would expect it to have been an option, nor is a dock worker. It's just not something I would think of.
Well,
So,
and here's
I
the
mean,
cool
it's
thing
cool that
is, if
their
you
job
know,
options are varied, and
if you know your
wide
history,
spread.
barbers were also like dentists and surgeons, and like they would do amputations, and they didn't just do shaves and haircuts back in the day.
Yeah.
They were basic, yeah. They were just people who were really good with cutting, and so they were very, very trusted to hold a blade steadily. And so a lot of jobs that required very delicate precision with a blade was something that a barber can do. And you can take that historical thing in this game, the way it's designed, and like, hey, make that argument that this is something that you're specialized in, right? Because you're a barber, and if you're wielding a blade, you are a barber. You can fucking be precise with that shit. That's what you do.
Oh, I'm absolutely not complaining about that as a job type. I got that and I was like, oh, that's dope.
Oh, I was definitely
like,
yes-anding.
That's not something I would have thought of. Scissors are just something I automatically get. Cool. Like
Right, but I wanted to segue that into the game structure and how it's just like, if it's related to your job, if you can argue that it's related to your job, then you get some benefits to that. Either you're able to do it, period, or maybe get a bonus, if I'm not mistaken, Judge.
Yeah, that's correct, and it's pretty massive. It's rolling a d20 versus a d10, so it's like very substantial.
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's hear. I didn't hear Joe weigh.
say-
Oh, yeah, I was about to say. Let's hear Joe weigh in.
All I have to say about it, other than agreeing with every point that's come up so far, is this hit me in the nostalgia the very first time I played D&D. The DM knew that I had prior experience playing in RPGs, but they weren't D&D, so he said, we're going to random roll your entire character. And it was one of the most crazy scenarios I'd ever put myself in, when I was sitting in a group of people who were in their 40s back in the 90s, playing D&D with them, and I was 7, rolling a character with dice that I had no idea that they did. So it was a lot of fun. Going back to that now, it's crazy that it's still just as fun as it was back then.
I mean,
Definitely hit right in the nostalgia.
I will second that. Nostalgia bone was definitely tickled. You tickled my bone, Dominic. You tickled my bone. Did Eric, you get a chance to weigh in? I think you did. I know. I heard.
I did, yes.
Okay, yeah. So, in general, this group seems to definitely enjoy this game so far. And that being said, and this is where normally I like to invite somebody other than myself to do a recap, and invite a player to do it for inspiration or for IP when we were playing Cyberpunk, etc. But I don't know. I can't offer that. Dominic would have to, if he wants to offer anything special for whoever gives the recap.
I'll offer 1 hit point back on one of your characters.
Dibs. Because I think I'm the only one who's not dead that's missing hit points.
I also have a hit point missing on a character.
I'll Rochambeau you for it. I don't know. How do you do that from here?
You screamed dibs so fast, I would not feel right about taking that from you. Go ahead,
fair,
sir.
fair.
He dibs the heck out of it.
All right. So
before we do the
go
recap,
ahead.
I got a couple things.
Sure.
One, a rule thing, super basic that was at the end of last session. Thrown weapons are pretty much how I thought it is. You use your agility for your attack bonus and strength for your damage bonus.
However, that might have been it.
The strength for damage bonus is only in the first range increment of the weapon, and interestingly, strength can be negative, right? So you can have situations where you actually have a damage benefit from throwing something further, which is a little hard to grok in my mind, but I guess I picture it as if you're close up, you're just throwing it as hard as you can straight at them. If you're far away, you're trying to put like a nice arc on it, and you let gravity do more of the work of the actual impact. I don't know. It's something interesting to think about, but that's how the rules work. And the other thing I just want to remind folks going into this session is last week we had our first combat, and it was more or less some shambling plant things, and you guys fought them and pretty much like pitched battle. You surrounded them with your peasant tools and poked them to death, which makes sense as it was our first combat. Let's see how this thing works. All well and good. But I want to remind you guys, the judge, and the system expect you to fight dirty. If you don't fight dirty, you're probably all going to die. Actually, if you don't fight dirty, you're certainly all going to die. If you fight dirty, you might still all die. So, like I said before, I'm a Pathfinder First Edition specialist. In that system, I work really hard to make a balanced encounter, and if players have clever ideas, I'll let that, I'll let them put their thumb on the scale a little bit to make things more in their favor. But generally, you try not to let too many combats be solved by dirty tactics to the point where there's not an interesting combat as sport fight there. In this game, that's all out the window. The encounters aren't fair, so lie, cheat, and steal, fight dirty, try to come out alive. That is all not only allowed, but encouraged in Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Love it.
And with that, Dave, let's have a recap of last session.
And even though Bailey already conceded to me, I still want to point out the character that I have missing 1 hit point, that's 1 of 2. Yours is missing 1 of 3. So if I do the recap, I will still be that character will still be tied in HP with you. I know you already conceded, but I still felt that this was like worthy of mentioning as part of the system, because holy crap, that 1 hit point hurts my character way more than it does yours. Alrighty.
The horse is already dead.
Yeah, that's why it didn't matter for you. You're already dead. Now, here's the real question. Do I have a cheat sheet? Did you put stuff in the do we have notes? No, we don't. Okay.
I do not believe so.
So this is all from my head. Okay. So we can obviously skip over the character creation for the recap. We created characters. We really just discussed that just now. We all created 3 characters, and we created one with the just randomly rolling the stats one by one, and then we all created 2 additional ones by doing here's randomly rolling a whole character. There it is, and that is the summary of the first half of last week's session. Then we had this night of Grodd. What's the name of the god here? Grundle. I don't know.
I'll get back to you in a second on that.
Gortash, I think.
Gore is it Gore?
Gore is sounding like the Gorhan.
Gorhan. Okay. Gorhan. Oh, okay, I get it. You get okay. So so Gorhan, this knight of Gorhan shows up to our dinky little fishing village, which we all decided where we were stationed at. Well, I'm gonna roll with it. Where we were all stationed at this little fishing village, and he comes bearing this great grand announcement that the keep nearby that is filled with evil horrors needs to be dealt with, and the God has a list of people who have been summoned for this task, and there's a couple of moments of pushback. I was like, hey, how much am I getting paid for this? I believe I can't remember which of Naga's characters it was. He got a little greedy, and then God actually like almost struck his ass with lightning because he was challenging the call for selfish reasons. And one by one, this knight summons us all to the task, except for Reggie, which was one of my characters, who was asleep by the docks with a fishing line wrapped around his toe, and was carving scrimshaw from some fish bones, and fell asleep while doing that. And he had to be woken up, and did not really want to go, but he saw the crowd around him and was like, okay. And then the group of 12 noble conscripts were shuffled on over towards this horrible evil keep, where we encountered some bodies up on pikes that had significant overgrowth. And that significant overgrowth was nobody could really determine its nature. We tried, and were unable to figure anything out about it. But unfortunately, almost instantaneously, the knight that was escorting us gets killed by these weird zombie plant thingies, so we are just left to ourselves to defend ourselves against this blight. And unfortunately, we lost Brutus.
Yeah.
Brutus, one of Naga's characters, went down in heroic fashion. I mean, he Leroy Jenkins the fuck on in, and deserves the due for that. And I will say it probably did. His sacrifice probably did lead the group to be able to surround and separate the threats with the remainder, since at the very least he put a roadblock in between that guy and the main group, and we were able to overwhelm the plant-like beings. And then we looted the corpses. We were able to also discover that these were the bodies of the blacksmith's sons. I know one of my characters, Igor Mortis, who is the town gravedigger. He definitely insisted on bringing their possessions and proof of their death and the story to their father should we survive this. And we all took the time to dig them some graves for each of the two blacksmith sons and Brutus's body. And I believe that's where we left off. All right, was that enough of a recap to get a hit point?
Absolutely, yep.
Woohoo!
As Igor just takes shovelful after shovelful of dark earth away and reflecting on the.
And it was Igor who needed the
today.
hit point.
He just feels a sense of calmness and strength kind of surging through him, as doing this familiar work in such an unfamiliar place is enough to give him that extra little push back against death that he might need as the adventure continues. But
I like that.
As
I dig
Igor
that
is
description.
As Igor's shoveling away the earth, preparing the space for these two bodies, as I mentioned last session, but we were at the end of the time, so we didn't really get to you guys doing stuff about it. Seeds have sprayed from the various slashing wounds that you guys put into these bodies and the piercing wounds as they fall. And the seeds seem to be slowly yet steadily crawling themselves toward the corpse of your friend Brutus. There's also a dagger still on the lootable thing over here, so someone might want to take that dagger. You can leave it behind too, your dealer's choice. And inside the castle, you see ahead of you a foreboding tall gate with a portcullis raised, an open door that Damon had charged into, and you hear a horse braying in what clearly is in intense pain, and you heard until a couple seconds ago screams of Damon begging for mercy, but those have quieted. So all of those things are happening around you.
Does
Who would
anybody
like
have
to
a
do
torch?
something?
Does
A
anybody
torch,
have a torch?
but I do have a candle.
You do have a what?
A candle.
Okay, I recommend we burn those seeds.
Agreed.
Okay, smart move. Yeah, the seeds
Firelash
do
moves
seem
forward and
to.
take the loot.
The seeds
Sorry.
do seem to react negatively to the fire, stopping in their place and then inching away. And as you hold the candle to them, they pop somewhat violently, and this goo kind of goes everywhere. But yeah, you're able to in the time it takes your allies to dig the grave and dispose of these bodies, you are able to pop all of the seeds as they encroach on the body of the late friend Brutus.
Is the candle enough to get rid of the seed threat?
It is, yep.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay, so then Igor is going to just continue finishing. I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish 3 graves, but probably longer than... actually, you know what? He would start digging 2 more graves, one of them significantly larger than the other, because he's anticipating also needing to put Gorhan and his horse in the fucking ground, or Sir Damon and his horse in the ground also.
Okay, excellent. And this is actually a good time to talk about something. That this game has combat turns, which last 10 seconds, if I recall correctly, and exploration turns, which last 10 minutes, which is something interesting. I haven't quite 100% wrapped my head around how to smoothly make that work with dungeon exploration.
Ooh,
But in
that
this
is-
case, it works out well, where you take an exploration turn, I think, is fitting to dig these graves as a professional grave digger with the help of some friends. So yeah, in 10 minutes, which is very fast, but it is. You are a medieval peasant with a lot of skill in this, and one exploration turn.
And we have a lot of bodies to
Indeed, yeah.
I'm sorry for that terminology. That's a military term. Like, yeah, we need the bodies to do this, or send me 12 bodies. That means, send me 12 people to help me with a task. And then I realized, but we're digging graves for bodies, so that could have been confusing in context.
I knew exactly what you meant. And yes, you indeed have the living bodies able to do the labor to get that done in minutes. And also it takes like one exploration turn to pop all the seeds with the candles. And if anyone has anything else they want to do during that 10 minutes, I mean, one or
Cool.
two other characters could definitely be not digging a grave if they had something else they wanted to pursue.
I am going to refill my beverage while people figure out what they're doing with their turn.
Solaire, not feeling as though the digging of the graves is paramount to their mission for Gorhan, glory be his name, will stand watch at the entrance to the gate to make sure that we do not get rode up upon by the things that dispatched the Great Knight and his beast of burden.
Excellent. And over your 10 minutes here standing watch, you notice this, you're watching this dark moss-eaten gatehouse that's towering above you. You see murder holes on the side, and they're fashioned in the likeness of looming toads. And you can tell that it, maybe now, but definitely at least in the past, boiling oil and tar would have been sent through the mouths of these toads onto anyone who dared to cross the threshold of this gate into the castle. You hear a flap of a cloth banner above on the other side, and vines kind of drape from the battlements. There's a few rotting planks that go across this ditch. The ditch isn't particularly deep, like maybe a 5-foot deep ditch, just enough to slow down advancing. Probably in the past it was a more serious moat, and the portcullis is a rusty iron portcullis, half raised. But in the, taking the time to sit here and actively watch, you will hear animalistic sniffing sounds and scratches of claws on stone coming from above, kind of echoing through the toad visage murder holes that I described before.
So during that watch, would I be able to grab some dirt and try and cover my scent? I definitely smell like the sea because I'm a dock worker. And I would
Okay.
rather smell more earthy and stuff like that. Taking a note from his brother Bunce, who smells like shit all the time. He's going to rub the dirt all over himself. And by proxy, Eli is just like, oh, is this what we're doing? Because he's fucking 4 intelligence. He's just going to start doing it too. And Bunce just looks at them like they're a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Igor
Bunce
already
is looking at
smells
them like
dirt.
they're idiots. Bunce is going to have his sling ready, and he is going to be eagle eye watching the entrance to the gate under the portcullis, and he's going to try and watch the top of the tower in case he sees any movement for archers, ranged fighters, or if there's wolves or something that are inhabiting the keep. He's just going to keep his eye out with his keen beggar senses, having slept on the streets for years, and keeping it very, very perceptive while his brother and the village idiot are rubbing themselves in dirt.
Excellent. Anyone else have something they'd like to do during this exploration turn?
The village idiot and his brother, which are they just the village idiots then, or are they the pair of idiots?
No, Solaire's a dock worker, and Bunce is a beggar, and Eli is the village idiot. And he's an elf.
And an elven idiot. Those are rare.
Correct.
Viola and Bailage are definitely helping with the grave. But tie-dye would like to be looking around for anything shiny nearby if there is a shiny check that I can make.
While it was definitely a good idea to check tie-dye, you do not find anything else shiny in the area.
That's fair.
Goop and Gojo are similarly watching the keep in front of us to see if we can detect any kind of movement. Gojo in particular, though, is very worried about that kill box, and would be trying to determine if anything about it seems functional anymore.
Okay, so if anyone has an occupation, well, Gojo is specifically doing it as a trader. He wouldn't really know much about fortifications, so you can roll an intelligence check with a D10 as untrained. So it's just a raw D10 since your intelligence is +0 at the moment.
Yep.
Could I potentially petition for Solaire since he's a dock worker?
Yeah,
and there
I think,
are ships
I
that
think that
have
makes
kill
a lot of sense.
boxes. Okay.
So you can roll an intelligence check with a D20 Solaire. Gojo, you're taking a look at it, and yeah, you don't, it definitely looks dangerous, right? That's why you're double checking it in the first place, but you're not able to notice any specific mechanisms by which you think a defender could best your allies here, and yeah, Solaire, you're taking a look at it too, and unfortunately, it's the work you've done on the water is just so very different. Yeah, you've got dirt in your eye. I like that more.
I went way too heavy on the dirt. That was fantastic. Hey, I rolled the first nat 1.
And it didn't kill you.
It didn't. I just got dirt in my eye.
Hans has been looking to prove himself, and he is the brave one, willing to he's brave but still cautious, I want to say. He will cautiously, if we've got nothing else in our exploration time, he will cautiously cross forward.
Before you do that, Gojo's gonna kind of elbow Dopey and get his opinion on that effect.
Okay. On the defensiveness of this, there's nothing. I can't think of anything myself as a cobbler that would give him particular training in this. So that would be a D10 intelligence check as well.
Agreed. Yeah, but at least he's at +1. So hey.
God, I love your dice, man, so much. I look at those, and like I said, that's the color of my player killers. Every time I see you roll.
So yeah, we've got a line of peasants standing at the edge of the ditch, kind of doing the king of the hill, like sipping the beer and looking at the gate, but no one has had any flashes of inspiration on how exactly it's dangerous. But like I said, your characters clearly know it's dangerous. They're not completely unaware of the world, but the specific method by which it's dangerous is still unclear.
But Hans is going to brave, at least press forward so that everybody can press forward, because we know God's going to strike us by lightning if we don't clear out this. Hans genuinely believes, he's 100% okay. We were called to this purpose, and we will eradicate this fortress of evil or die trying. And this is probably where he dies trying.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Daniel Golo, man. And Toby will
Reggie
Very
is totally.
nice.
Reggie is totally. What is it? Bill is the like sad sack army haircutter, right? Army barber.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Reggie to the T right there in all of this.
Very
Okay.
cautiously looking up at the portcullis and gonna make a mad dash inside.
Oh
Okay,
shit!
well, right about there, right
Yep.
about when Dopey makes the mad dash.
Wow, did you just sacrifice yourself before I could? You asshole! I already said I was doing this. Fuck you. Take it. Take it. Take the other character death. I was trying to spare you. You only have one left. After this guy dies.
I didn't think you were going for the sacrifice.
Ah! Oh.
Okay.
Just because I wasn't running in doesn't mean I didn't realize what I was doing was going to get me killed.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dopey, as you go in, you look up and you see kind of where the chains are leading of the portcullis. A couple of sneering faces look down at you, and they release a lever. However, they release the lever, and the rust on the portcullis, it drops a bit, almost crushing you, and then stops just short of crushing you, and they have to kick the lever a few times before the portcullis falls, giving you time to get out of the way, Dopey. A portcullis now separates you and your team. However, you are not being crushed under it, which is absolutely a mercy.
Yeah.
And are we about to go into initiative now?
These two are up high on the castle. They're gonna run away. However, before they run away, we're gonna take a quick roll and see what they look like. So the one on the left is, oops, wrong roll table. The one on the left.
The keep was ruled by chaos lords. Even after their defeat, their corpses were never discovered. I like that one. Let's go to their corpses description.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one on the left has a body that weeps maggots and larvae, and flies form from its open maw and ears.
Ugh.
He has a little bit of an infection.
He is now known as Maggoty Beastman. The one on the right has a dense coat of feathers and the head of a vulture.
Ooh.
So you have one kind of insectoid to the left, weeping maggots, and has a swarm of flies, pigpen style, around him. And the one on the right has this large beak and black feathers and a long pink neck as it looks down and was hoping to crush you under the portcullis for a free meal. However, this attempt failing, they appear to retreat to the east.
Alright. I will point up to the others and yell out that monsters, there are at least 2 monsters up there.
What do they look like?
Nightmarish.
Are we in initiative, or can I do something?
Nope, you guys are good.
Well, I'm gonna go. Where's Hans? There he is. I want to go with Hans up to the portcullis, and I want to see if I can jam my pitchfork into the mechanism and see if I can snap the counterweight.
Oh, nice. Make and yeah, probably just an attack roll. But if you have other ideas, like if you think that something as a rice farmer would have,
I mean, just being able to know a pitchfork and what I can do with it is about as much as I had gone. Just at the
I
very
think
least.
attack roll is going to give you the best. That's a D20. A skill would be a D10.
All right.
Unless you're doing
So
something
just
special.
doing
So, yeah.
just doing an attack roll with the pitchfork then. 16.
Okay, and go ahead and roll the damage.
Hey.
8 damage.
Nice. So yeah, you shove that pitchfork in, and as you was your goal, there's the thing holding the counterweight was just as rusted as the rest of it, and you're able to
I want to say I was going off of the rustedness to think that this might work.
Yeah, and it does work indeed. You're able to wiggle it, and just with your raw farmer strength, you're able to snap that off, and the port goes back up, and it fetches again where it fetched before it almost caught Dopey, and it seems to just be resting there.
Right, because I snapped the counterweight, so it can't move now. Right, it's just stuck in its position.
Yeah, yes, unless a giant was to jump on it from the top or something. But yes, the mechanism
pull it down.
Right, but the mechanism by which it was mechanized is now completely gone.
All right,
should be safe to pass under.
Well then, Hans is going to continue moving. Where's Dopey?
I'm right next to Eli, 2 spaces in front of you.
Oh, I see you. Okay, so Hans is gonna get on the other side of the portcullis there, and stop here, and then just like hold his pitchfork out, readying himself against any danger or threat that might come his way.
Okay, and you make your way to the other side, and you see a horse with its foot caught in a hole, like its leg got caught in a hole in the ground and snapped. It's backwards, and the horse is on the ground, rubbing its 3 good legs against the ground, and one is caught in the hole, whinnying. It clearly looks like it is incredibly hurt. It looks like it also got a couple of poke wounds to go with it. It's got a couple of stab wounds from which it's bleeding onto the ground and staying in this an intense pain there in the corner. You also see ahead of you to the north a large well, like a quite large well, honestly. You see to the northeast what appears to be a giant chasm, although from where you are exactly, you just see the edge of it and then blackness that goes down. You don't really see a ton more than that. To the northwest, you see a collapsed section of wall with jumble of blocks that looks maybe climbable but dangerous. And then to the west, you see a building. It looks like it was some sort of important outbuilding for this castle at one point. And then to the southwest, you see the entrance, or southeast, excuse me. You see the entrance to a tower, the largest tower of this keep, with a door. And you do see a trail of blood. That something was clearly being dragged towards that door. Fresh blood.
Okay. I mean, you probably just answered this question, but this would still have been something Igor was looking for, Damon's body. And I think you just answered the question because of the fresh blood and dragging. But,
yes.
Can I put those 2 and 2 together like I did? Can Igor put those 2 and 2 together, or...
Definitely. Yeah.
Oh, no roll necessary. He's just like, okay, yeah, they dragged Damon's body away from the horse.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely dragged something fresh and bloody away from the horse, and you don't see Damon. So yeah, I think that's a very fair thing to put together.
Okay, cool. Because I put that together as you described it, but like I said, I wanted to have Igor look for Damon's body. That was what he was going to do. So. And by the way, I know you. I don't think you knew this, but Damon is my son's name.
Oh, I did not know that.
So that is one of the reasons why one of my characters is very concerned about recovering Damon.
I probably would have named him the character something else had I known. I apologize.
I will tell. Oh, to be fair to you, A, I knew you didn't know that, and B, I feel like it just gave me an extra incentive for one of my characters to give a shit, you know? So, there's, I don't feel like that was a problem.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, yes, the floor is yours. You are in this courtyard with several points of interest in a few directions. So, who's going to do what first?
Well, Igor in particular is concerned with recovering Damon's body for proper burial, because that's his goddamn job. If he was here for anything, it's to make sure that the bodies of the dead get laid to rest. So Igor would like to try and follow that blood trail.
Okay, and that blood trail is going to lead to, as I said, to this tower to the south east.
Oh, wrong one.
Solaire is going to go over to the horse and try and look at it from a person's standpoint. I think it's going to be able to live. We come from a farming village, so I'm sure we know a little bit about horses. Like, is this break and wounds something that it could recover from with proper attention, or is it basically just suffering?
Roll an intelligence check with the D10 +2, because, like you said, it's a farming community. You'd have some knowledge of husbandry for sure.
Would Gojo be able to help? Oh, well, might not be necessary.
Would you want me to put an additional +1 because my intelligence is +1?
Yes, yeah, but
that would be a 13.
12 will get it done. 13 will also get it done. So you know that this horse could technically live, but a break like this on a horse's leg means it's not going to be useful to anyone ever again. And yeah, likely would be in for a life of suffering unless.
Okay. Solaire is going to. I believe Solaire got the sword, or who? Which one of my characters grabbed the sword? Or did Dave grab the sword? I think Dave grabbed it, actually. Which one of your characters has the sword, Dave?
Gojo has a sword as well.
Actually, no, I didn't take a sword.
Oh, then it must have been Gojo who grabbed it.
Yeah. No, Gojo always had it. But yeah, he'll understand what you're trying to drive at and ask you to cover the horse's eyes. And
Solaire will cover the eyes and then allow Gojo to perform the last kindness.
Yeah, Gojo will very, very quickly and kind of mournfully actually cut the throat, make it as quick as possible.
And the horse does, it seems, calmed by a human's touch. This was clearly a well-trained horse. And then,
I want to quickly interrupt. I'm sorry. I might have fixed the problem. Move stuff around.
I'm going to move Gojo around. Wiggle.
Yes,
wiggle,
I fixed the problem.
Stop.
I fixed
Let's
the problem.
go.
All right.
I fixed the problem.
And,
what the fix was, I'm not going to go into the details, but I fixed the problem. I now have...
I do want to know the answer later, but yes, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
And as quickly as that moment of humanity came, it goes as Gojo moves to check the saddlebags.
I was going to say, Solaire doesn't. Solaire just kind of pats the neck of the horse and says a prayer to Gorhan, and Bunce rolls up and starts looting the body.
You do find 2 torches,
Oh, cool.
which you'll be able to loot these in a second. You
Considering
find 2
in
torches.
D&D you start with 10 torches, basically it doesn't matter what like class, race, or whatever. Damn near everybody gets like some torches in their pack, right? In this, nobody got shit.
Yeah.
I was like, does anybody have a torch? And you're like, I got a candle.
Was anyone a torch bearer as their profession? Yeah, but you find 2 torches, and as well as that satchel that he was using to show off in the town, which has 3 gold, 13 silver, and 37 copper. So it's basically like more money than any of you have ever seen in one place.
I will nab a torch and 1 gold, and I will leave Bunce will leave the rest for everybody else.
Igor is going to kind of just like I've already dug some graves. I've done a service to the town. I deserve payment.
Here's 13 copper.
All right.
Not bad, like a month's pay as a gravedigger.
I mean, I think I've earned it. I already dug
If you
5
wanna
graves,
come take-
one of them for a horse.
If you want to take the 13 copper, then by all means.
No, Igor will take payment for services rendered.
Yeah, there's a good 8 silver and 24 copper
Hold
left.
on.
You're
You're
burying,
burying
the
the
horse.
horse?
He already dug the grave outside. You guys do have to drag the horse body there at some point, but
I'm just saying.
By law,
we're gonna argue that we could save from this horse meat. It'll make
some good rations later.
You got some echo, Bailey.
I get it. Bailey wants to eat the horse, and honestly, Igor's not opposed to that. The only thing that he was thinking of, if you are not aware, the origin of burying the dead is not necessarily some kind of sign of respect, although it did eventually develop that way. But the reason why our caveman ancestors in 10,000 BC started burying the dead was because dead bodies attracted predators.
Yep.
So, with that spirit in mind is why Igor dug the grave, was because if we're going to bury bodies, we might as well bury all of them, because the whole point is to not attract predators.
I have added 5
can I
horse
just eat
meat.
the part I want?
I've added 5 horse meat to your inventory, and
Yeah.
I assume Biolage probably, with a French name, has prepared takes out the heart for a nice horse heart tartare or something, as well as a couple of cuts off the rump.
Right.
Beautiful.
Nope. I'm not opposed, but I got my 13 copper for digging those graves, and that's cool. So eat the horse instead. Cool. Don't give a shit.
Hey, there we go. About to say there are 8 silver left.
Okay, so the horse now lays still. It had a calm and peaceful death as it could in such a situation, and the group of peasants looks around to see the tower, the building, which now that you're closer, you see this building was clearly burned. There's signs of a large fire covering the building, a well, a chasm, a fallen wall, and also just a large courtyard, which this place is strangely still and silent now that the horse was like the only big source of noise. It was echoing off the walls and chaotic. With that quiet, you notice that it's definitely kind of this place is quiet. Too quiet moment.
Reggie would like to hide behind the big ass horse body.
Okay.
Gojo likes the cut of your jib and will join you.
Hans steps forward with the courage of 1,000 cowardly dogs. I don't know. And since Dopey usurped his heroic moment the last time, he's going to step forward and describe this door to me again.
So this is... Oh, I didn't actually put a door there. Ignore me. Okay. Just pretend you didn't see what's on the other side. Okay, so this door is like a large metal double door that has drag marks on the ground from opening and closing and dragging against the overgrown brush. Presumably when this was a nice keep once upon a time, it had clearance on the ground. And it leads to the tallest tower here, which reaches up towards the sky, probably 60 feet or so. And the bloody drag marks
60
of
feet. This door is 60 feet high.
No, the door is probably like 10 feet or so. The tower itself is 60 feet.
Oh, okay. What the fuck is walking into this location?
I know, right?
And yeah, there's the drag marks with the blood of presumably Damon, and as well as does anyone have or any sort of class that would have tracking skills? Not class, occupation. I'm looking around. I'm not seeing one.
Reggie is a mariner. Mariner would at least have some kind of tracking skills, but probably not on land. So
yeah, I don't think like footprints in the dirt is really their bag. So yeah, that's it.
Wait, what about a grave digger? And there's always nefarious beings around the graves in these kinds of adventurous settings. Just somebody's fucking around with graves, and there's footprints around the graves, and so the grave digger at least knows footprint around the dirt stuff.
I'll give it a D10 plus 2. Yeah, he has to check every morning for signs of grave robbers casing the the graves.
All right, D10 plus 2. What the hell? Oh my!
How about the elf?
The elf. So it depends. You're still an elf, like with occupation, right? I know that we have an elven sage. Are there any other elves? I think the elven sage probably would have, as
I could argue for a D8.
Yeah, D10. An untrained check, but still able to maybe do it, like just being around elves and studying.
Yo.
Well,
you weren't supposed to pass that check.
Well, it's you definitely do. You look around and you see that there's also footprints that kind of muddy footprints that lead to this tower that also go to like the front gate. As you kind of look around, you see that it looks like they frequently go from this tower to that well.
And there's my roll, which was not as good.
Okay.
There's people who go from here to there and back.
Would Dopey be able to tell anything from the footprints themselves about what these creatures might be, based on how the footprints imprint into the dirt?
I think to get that specific, we need a little more of a relevant occupation.
Okay.
That's starting to get into like hunter territory for sure, or
Fair enough.
tracker, or something of the sort. Okay.
Fair enough.
Hans is going to. Can you describe the material the doors are made from? I know you said there was metal, but are they entirely made of metal? Or are these just straight up steel doors, or is it wood with metal? Trim, or what's up?
These are iron doors, yeah.
Straight up iron doors. Okay, fuck. Is there a latch? A doorknob? How do these doors appear to open?
A ring that you would pull.
Hans pulls on the ring.
And it seems to be barred from the inside.
Of course it is. So, something tells me we're gonna have to find another entrance. Do I see this door over here?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys see
there's another door over here. There's another door over here. And then I want to ask, what, if anything, appears to be something that would allow somebody to get up to the top here where this portcullis thing and where they ran across over here?
How far is the wall?
The wall is about 30 feet. The tower kind of doubling that. There are vines on the wall. This place is very overgrown. On the outside, they made sure that they don't go too low so that someone couldn't just climb. But now that you guys are on the inside, whoever's here hasn't maintained it at all. So there are vines on the side of the wall. A climbing attempt would be possible.
All right, Hans.
The door also, while it is iron, it looks as dilapidated as anything else here. So
Hans wants to attempt to climb the vines, but he doesn't want to do it up here. He wants to do it back here. And Igor wants to check out this door. What did I just... Never mind. My bad.
I believe that Baya or Viola has something that might help with that.
Well, entirely possible. I'm just saying that's what I have. I have two characters who want to do things. One is climb up the vines, and the other is inspect this door.
Okay, so
Byalos does have an iron spike.
Very useful. We'll start with. I apologize if this ruins the stream. This door here. Hopefully that didn't, but.
It did, but not in... Well, it didn't ruin it. You actually did what you wanted to do. You directed the camera to a specific place. I can move... So, I'll just tell you. The reason why the problems were happening before was because the stream view was listed as owner, not observer. So we had it as owner as all of these things. So that's why every time any token was being moved around, it was following that token.
Fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, so
Good to know.
I switched it all to observer, and it's not making that jump anymore, but it will make the jump when you do what you just did to center on that spot. But that's what you wanted to do, right? You wanted to center on that spot. Like that was using the technology the way you wanted it to.
Excellent. So this door is that this once proud edifice has fallen into ruin like the rest of the keep. All that remains of this building are fire-scarred high stone walls and toad-faced gargoyles leering from above. The singed bronze doors, cast with hundreds of wailing demonic faces, are barred from the outside. So this one you can open easily. The portal is marked with a single word drawn in flaking red paint, and that word is repent.
Igor will and I don't know what like deities exist in this world, but as I kind of picture Igor as a preliminary grave cleric, right? You know what I'm saying? Like he's not a cleric yet. Obviously, he's still just a gravedigger, but like that kind of just feels like the path he might be on, and would probably worship some kind of neutral god of death. Like if I were in the 5e universe, I would say Weejoss, right? Just a neutral god. You know, death is just inevitable, and that's just, you know. So I feel like Igor would, you know, give himself a little sign of the cross or whatever of his god of death's religion, and then use his shovel after, you know, doing that sign and issuing a little prayer to his goddess of death, and then would use his shovel to just kind of knock the bar off and see what happens.
Okay, the bar comes off and the door slowly swings open a bit, and inside you can see a previously seen. There's 6 charred skeletons strewn about this chapel. Some look like they were crushed by
Did
burned
you mean to
beams.
open the door? Because you didn't.
I was just describing it. I hadn't opened it yet, but yeah, we can do that. Some look like they were crushed by falling beams. Some look like they simply burned. At the head of the chapel is a fountain depicting a squat demonic toad, and a foul black ichor seeps from the toad's broad lips, pooling in the basin. Notably, that ichor seems to be the toad itself has a jewel, like a crystalline, precious-looking tongue that the ichor seeps over, and then it's going on to since you said your Igor is already has aspirations for the cloth. It makes sense that he would recognize a golden censer on a chain, as well as some charred strong box that's being covered by this ichor. Also, as you look around the and see these charred skeletons, say that 10 times fast. You see that they had weapons of war, so, you know, while you all are armed with sticks and dreams, there are some scarred suits of chainmail and maces and even a flail in the hands of these skeletons in this and the charnel ruins that you have just looked into.
All right, this is such a bad idea, but I gotta. Igor moves in towards this altar, or whatever, this pentagram circle or whatever, and drops to his knees and says, "I pledge myself to you, O Dark Lord."
Fascinating. So a couple things are going to happen. One, Igor being a gravedigger, you notice kind of immediately as you walk in, clearly this fire took place long ago, right? However, you still smell the stench of charred flesh, which would be familiar to you, and a sour scent of freshly burnt incense. You know, and as you walk in and you kind of walk over some of these skeletons, you notice that the skeletons are hot to the touch as a fire that maybe was doused halfway, but there's still some warm coals. And as you kind of push one to the side walking in, you even notice cinder glowing beneath them.
Hey,
not
y'all,
enough to damage
I'm
you or
either
anything
about
like
to
that.
become the villain or die. Like that's either I'm about to die like horrifically, or Igor just became the big bad. I don't know which one of those is going to happen. Probably the first one. The dying part.
Okay. It's very possible. However, as you go in and kneel into this and pledge yourself to the Chaos God, you do feel kind of drawn to that censer. However, as you're drawn to the censer, the ichor starts to rise up around you,
Yeah.
taking the
Of course.
form of a tar ooze. And again, I would like everybody to roll initiative.
You wanna see a quick so if you do Control A, select everything, right click on anything, click the cross swords, and it adds everything on the board to initiative.
There's a lot of stuff on that are tokens on the board that aren't going to be in this initiative, though.
So you remove them, and I will help you because I'm the one who just was the asshole and did that anyway. Oh wow, it still didn't it's still, oh right, because we're just doing one initiative for each of us, right?
Correct.
For each of our characters. Got it. No,
Yeah, just take your character at the highest initiative, add them to the combat tracker, and then roll initiative for them.
I actually added everybody to the combat tracker. That's what I'm saying. But, well, I guess I didn't. Wow. Okay, that did not work the way I thought it was going to, and I apologize. Because Biolage and Viola are the same. Yeah, there we go. And tie-dye. Wow. Okay, so I got... Wow, I fucked that up. I apologize for backseat GMing on that one.
No worries.
I was trying to
but
make
we
it
do
easier.
need one from Vexens. I appreciate the...
Vexen, yeah. Vexen Dono. There we go.
All of yours have +0, so I just added Solaire. Okay, so Gojo, you are the first to act.
I love
Gojo,
that the bad guy
you
has
and
a
your gang.
negative 97 initiative.
I know, right?
That is fantastic. And you haven't begun
I commented
combat
on
yet.
that. Funny.
So Gojo, you and your gang will be the first to act here.
Yep. Gojo is just going to stay where he's at. But Dopey, however, is going to have a stroke of genius, and if you'll allow it, pull out his little hand mirror, and if there's a source of light, concentrate it on the tar beast, try and set it on fire.
Okay, make a ranged attack, I think, to redirect some sunlight with that mirror towards the tar ooze.
All right. How would
So
I
just make an agility check. Actually, that's going to be the better way.
Cool. All right.
That does not hit the tar ooze. It's you're hitting him with a beam of light, but you're not able to like focus it in one spot enough that you start to see him smoke or anything like that.
Gotcha.
But it was an interesting idea for sure.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all right. Dopey will be trying again on the next turn. So
You still have two other characters.
I already said that Gojo wasn't going to do anything,
Oh.
and that's
And
my last character.
Brutus continues being buried.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
My bad. I already killed one of you guys. Or, I mean, already buried. I didn't kill him, but I buried him.
Okay, so Tie-Dye and Bailey's gang are up next.
Okay. Biolage is gonna be greedy as hell. Does she see through the door this chainmail that's just sitting here?
Absolutely, yeah.
1, 2, 3. Wait, wow, what's my movement? Hold on. 30, 4, 5, 6. She wants to pick that right up.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a whole action.
Just picking it up, yeah, I think that's an action.
Okay, so then she's gonna do that for her turn. Viola is like, "Oh no, can I save you?" Because she didn't hear him say anything to the dude, and she wants to stand back about this far and throw her grappling hook to try to catch Igor Mortis's clothes and pull him back.
Nice. Roll an agility check.
Agility.
Definitely good enough. Igor,
Can
assuming
Igor
you're not
resist
trying
being?
to.
Yeah, can Igor resist being pulled?
Sure. If you want to resist, then it's actually not good enough because your AC's 10. I was assuming you were going to want. Okay.
No, he's trying to get kidnapped. I didn't realize that though. That's what my character would do.
No, you're good.
I hate it when people say that most of the time, but that's how it is in this situation.
You'll roll a fortune check.
Roll a fortune check.
Or luck, excuse me. Which your luck is insanely good on this character.
Oh my god!
Unfortunately, you rolled too high.
Okay. This is one of those roll under
I rolled
things.
too high.
Luck is roll under. Yep.
Roll
everything
under.
Else is roll
Hilarious. Okay, so I rolled fantastically on luck. Tie-dye is a little bit more unsure of how to help in this situation because she is lacking the equipment she would like. She's going to start trying to fashion a net, I believe, out of her fabric that she has. But she's going to move like right here so that she can catch anybody who comes out possibly instead of trying to run inside.
Okay, interesting. So basically you've got a ready to action to try to catch anyone who's running out with fabric.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Next up is Solaire and the gang.
Hi, how are you? Solaire, we'll start with my boy. He has nothing to help with this. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to move. Okay, I have to do it in stages. Hang on. He's going to move to there, and that is going to be the end of his turn. Buns is going to light the torch that he has in his hand.
Okay.
And then do the same. Basically, has the same idea as Dopey. But Buns just has a fucking torch, and he can only move that far. And then Eli's just gonna chill. He's just gonna hang out next to that door. In fact, he's gonna go over there and inspect the door and try and figure out how it works.
Okay, go ahead and roll an intelligence check for Eli. With a D10. Roll an intelligence check with the D20. It's fine. Just
his one weakness, intelligence.
Oof.
Yeah, Eli is not able to discern anything useful about the door. Okay.
What is this giant stone contraption?
Okay, so Dave, you and your gang are next.
Yep. So Reggie is going to continue hiding behind the corpse of this horse. And then Hans was climbing up the side of this wall, but we never resolved that.
Okay, so make a strength check now.
Oh, I'm good at those.
Okay, excellent. So you grab those vines and rock climb your way up this wall. You know, it's old and falling apart, so there's plenty of foothold, so it's really not even that tough. Now you get to the top, and you notice that this does lead to a. I just moved your token here so you can see, but I'm assuming Hans is going to peer over the edge first before just YOLOing.
Yes.
So you see several beastmen, including the maggoty beastmen who was up here before, as well as a trail of maggots down the thing, and a much larger beastman that seems to be hiding, ready to pounce on anything that opens that door. And you also see the tied up, chained up bodies of many people, including Damon, who unfortunately looks as though he has had a death by way of several spear wounds. And I want you to roll a will save, Hans.
Okay. This is gonna suck. Hey, that's not horrible.
Okay, so with a 15 on the will save, you have these like memories kind of suddenly rushing back to you of these people in the town. All the people you're seeing are people who were members of your little village who disappeared, and you realize strangely you didn't have any memories of them until this moment when you peered over and saw them hanging from the chains. Many of them are dead. Some of them do seem to be moving and groaning and struggling. It's a very grisly scene as the beastmen have chained up several of your townsfolk here for some horrific purpose.
All right. Well, my question then would be, so I did my climb, that was my action, and I'm guessing a significant amount of my movement, but would Hans then be able to, at the very least, do some kind of non-verbal signal to wave to everybody and be like, hey, I found something interesting?
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, I guess some people might just have to perceive that or whatever, but
Eli waves back.
That would be what Hans would do, would be to try and indicate, I found something up here. And so that was Reggie, that was Hans, and then Igor. Igor is going to pray to his dark goddess of death to deliver himself and his allies from this evil before them.
Make a personality check.
All right. Whoops. It's a 9.
You see the toad statue's tongue in front of you quivering as though it wants to say something to you, but it just can't quite get the words out. You've prayed to the god of death, and it seems as though you've almost garnered an answer, but you haven't quite gotten there. We'll say that's not an action. You still have your movement. You still have your action.
If I can double down with my action, I will.
Okay, you can pray harder. This time it will be your action.
That's better. Woo!
And now Igor and only Igor sees the toad start to talk, and it says, "Servant of death, take the censer. Use it to calm the agents of chaos."
Is it an action or like item interaction to take the sensor or what?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an action to take the sensor.
So then that would be the next turn. Cool. Then that ends my turn. I'm done.
Okay.
Except for this Taurus is about to fuck me up, probably.
We'll see. So it does kind of lash out at you and try to surround you with its ooziness and squeeze.
That's a hit. I'm fucking dead.
And Igor Mortis is immediately surrounded by the ooze and squeezed and bursts into flame as you see him consumed by the ooze, which then starts inching forward towards the other people in this room.
Yeah.
And Gojo and the gang, you are up next.
Yep. And you said that the tar ooze thing burst into flame.
Igor burst into flame.
Yeah.
Okay.
As it was squeezed by the tar ooze.
I got
Igor,
fucked.
if you want to have any last words for your teammates as the ooze started at your feet and climbed up to your head, I will allow it.
Igor will say his dying words will be, take the censor to defeat the evil.
And Igor is no longer, but has had a potentially heroic end. Okay, Gojo and the gang, you are next to act.
Dopey is going to try the exact same thing. Hey, 14.
Okay, and this was that absolutely hits. And go ahead and roll 1d4.
Alright.
I replaced Reggie in the initiative, and he pretty much ended up in the same spot, right behind Solaire. So, just letting you know, since my initiative person died.
Thank you for the heads up.
Would Gojo see Hans trying to signal that he found something?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, definitely. Everyone sees Hans. He's not being subtle about it. The tar ooze does take 2 points of damage, and bursts into flame.
Hell yeah. Gojo is going to acknowledge Hans, but then point to the open door and try and indicate with his hands that there's a fight going on.
Okay.
If I can non-verbally respond back, I just want to kind of like point my 2 fingers at my eyes and then point down the hallway, indicating I need to keep my eye on what's happening down this hallway.
And Gojo will nod in response.
Excellent. So up next we have Bailey's gang.
Okay, I have no vision for Biolage, so I cannot move her right now. I know, but it won't let me see her in the map. I know where she is, right here where the chainmail is, but it won't let me.
Do you have another token selected at the moment?
Aha! Joe fixed it for me. I'm just not aware of what's going on, I suppose.
No worries. Most players aren't used to commanding a freaking army, and I forget as a GM that people aren't used to it.
Back towards the flail and pick that up because it's more stuff that's like weaponized. Like, oh my god, what are all these free weapons right here?
Okay, and you can go ahead and loot that in the VTT.
Nice. Take. Okay. And then Viola, seeing the person she was trying to save die, is like, what the hell? Nuh-uh, I'm not dealing with a tar demon, and goes back out this way. One,
You
two,
just
three,
abandoned
4,
my
5.
corpse, you bitch.
Sorry.
I fucking hate you, Bailey. I fucking hate you.
I saw Reggie wave from the top of the thing, so she's gonna move down that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't climb up this turn, I assume.
You cannot. And that will bring us to Solaire and the gang.
Hey, let's hit the break after this initiative turn.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna start out with Bunce. Bunce is going to try and make his. He's going to try and make his way over to. He heard what Igor said, and he's going to try and make his way to the altar and just grab everything on it. And, like, say stop.
You were like here, right? So that's... Yep, you make it over there, and yeah, you could grab everything. You know, if you're not trying to equip it or do anything with it, you can just scoop up everything into your arms in one turn.
Yep, he'll grab everything, and he'll just say stop. And he will pray. He will pray.
Will you pray for Igor to be revived?
He will pray for Igor to return and for this all to be a bad dream so he can wake up in his hovel in the alleyway to a half-filled bottle of booze.
Don't forget to loot the tongue, and despite your fervent prayers and demand for the creature to stop, it does not seem to be respecting your wishes at this time. You do notice as you pick up the sensor and you grab everything and it goes close to your nose, the sensor does seem to be loaded with incense already, but it is not lit, of course, at this time. And Reggie and Hans are up next. Oh, I'm sorry, you still have more characters.
Yeah, I've still got extra people.
I'm also not used to the army of peasants per player. Okay.
Yeah. Does my pole for Solaire have reach? It says a staff, so I would assume it would have like 5 feet of reach.
Let me just check on that in the weapons table.
5 feet is right next to you. You want 10 feet.
Yeah, 10 feet. That's what I mean.
Reach seems to not be a thing.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, then I guess I gotta move up, and I'm gonna go MC Slap-a-Ho with this giant ooze thing. So.
Too bad.
Hey, that's I think a hit. Maybe yes. I hope.
Absolutely a hit.
All right, and I have.
Click the damage.
Does
brother.
Solaire not have a birth thing? Oh, that's right. He gets advantage saving throws against things. Okay. Damage.
Damage.
How do I roll damage on this?
It's the damage button in the chat.
There we go. Okay.
There you go.
2. There we go.
Okay, and a good chunk of ooze slaps off of this thing onto the wall, and you see the shockwaves reverberate through it, and a chunk of it goes off and goes against the wall and slides down, now lifeless. You've done some damage to this ooze, but it will fight on. And we still have Eli, the Book of Eli.
Book of Eli is going to wave at Hans because he thinks he's waving at him to say hi. And he waves back.
Excellent. Okay. And now we have Reggie and Hans. Hans, you look down, and I forget who, Gojo is doing some fantastic hand communication with you. You guys are discussing tactics, and you look to Eli, who just has a big smile on his face and is waving like a child.
So, Reggie, I'm gonna say, especially just because for the meta of the fact that it's my character to my character, Reggie Reggie definitely notices Hans and is still just ducking down and not engaging and is just being cowardly as shit. Hans, I want to be in a position where I can charge or drop down as the situation needs, because as of right now, I'm not entirely certain I'm needed to try and cross the field to go deal with whatever's going on in that room. But what I do know is I can see baddies and they can't see me, or at least have not acknowledged that they can see me. So I want to continue keeping my eye on them. So I just want to be in a position where I can keep my eye on the bad guys, but still be able to jump down safely if I feel feel it's necessary.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So you're hanging out at the top, but yeah, you could drop down safely if you wanted to at any time.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want if I can use my action to just make sure that I'm not going to die dropping down.
Yeah, you take a loop of vine and put it around your waist or something like that.
Yeah. And that'll do, and then let's do the Tarus and take our break.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay, well, the Tarus does seem to direct its attention towards the one who just scooped up all the valuables off the toad altar thing in the Fountain of Ichor, and is going to lash out at Bunce Gray, who's got his eyes closed, saying his prayers as the ooze turns his attention towards him.
Ugh.
Ooh.
That most certainly hits.
Yeah, but not for a
And
ton of
does.
damage. Was that not death?
1 point of damage.
Do you have more than one hit point?
Once opens his eyes, realizing the first time he's been hurt and it's not a dream, and goes, "Oh, you done fucked up."
However, Bunce, there's good news and bad news. The bad news is your clothes burst into flame, and you're certain if you don't do something about this situation at the end of your next turn, you will take damage from fire. The good news is the sensor has been lit, the incense inside, and you now see pleasant smelling smoke wafting from the sensor in your hand. The other good news is I want Dopey to roll 1d4.
Oh, alright. 3.
The tar ooze burns brightly, taking 3 points of damage from being lit on fire from the concentrated sun ray coming off the mirror.
Nice.
And you wanted to go to break, Dave?
Yeah, if that's the end of the Taru's turn.
It is.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back in 10 minutes. And please feel free to replenish your drinks, because I know we will be.
Unless you're just taking shots like me. Shot.
Yes,
Everybody!
Bailey is such an alcoholic, and that's me saying this. You should take that to heart.
You're not an alcoholic unless you go to meetings. You're
Wait.
a drunk.
No, because there's the Satanic Temple's sober program.
That doesn't matter. If you go to meetings, you're an alcoholic. If you don't, and you go to parties, you're a drunk. There's a difference.
I do
All
not
right.
participate in meetings.
We'll see you all in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, we are back, and thank you for your patience. I know we were there a little bit longer than our normal 10 minutes, but let us get back to going at it. And by all means, Judge, take over.
Okay, folks, so back at the top of initiative, we have Gojo and the gang. Bunce is on fire, the Tar's on fire. Things are a little bit crazy. Let's see what Gojo and Dopey want to do next.
Well, Gojo is going to maintain position. Dopey, on the other hand, sees the mace on the far side and wants loot as well. So he's going to charge in and screw it. I'll go ahead and dash over to the chainmail to pick that up on the next turn. And that will end my turn.
Okay. And now we've got Vexen's... No, excuse me. Naga's gang. Excuse me, that's incorrect. We have Bailey's gang.
So many names before the correct name.
No, seriously, that was like reminiscent of my dad. My dad was like, "Hey, Chris, I mean Sam, I mean Dave." Like, it was just like that was, and it didn't matter like which one of us he was trying to contact. He would always inevitably go through all of the names before he got to the right one. Come on, I know I'm not just. This is not just my dad I'm describing, right? I know there's some other dads or moms out there and who have siblings, and you're like, yep, that's how it went every fucking time.
I don't even have to
Okay, I gotta ask you a serious question.
Okay, serious answer. I'm serious.
I have 6 squares of movement. Can Biolage run forward, hit Bunce Gray, and still make it to the chainmail on the other side of the dungeon? I want to throw the chainmail I've already grabbed over Bunce Gray to try to smother the fire, and then continue past to the chainmail on the other side.
You know what? Go for it. Let me just make sure that that's actually... Yeah, go for it. So run over to Bunce Gray and then make an...
1, 2, 3, 4 is what it would be, right? Like right here.
Next to
1,
him.
2, 3.
It's fine, yeah.
And then I would go
an
1, 2, 3 down to the bottom right here.
Oh, you're trying to go steal it
What
from
do you...
Dopey.
Agility?
Yeah.
Agility.
Oh, that's evil.
Okay, so you run over, and while you're running past, take the chainmail in your hands and throw it exactly over where the fire is that was climbing up Bunce Gray, dousing him. Well, you know, there's probably still some tongues of flame or whatever. He's not totally out, but you're able to at least put it out enough that it's not going to be damaging to him in any sort of near term. And then
I want to run back here and grab this chainmail.
Okay.
But I don't think I can grab it this turn, I assume, because I used my action.
Yes, but you're in position to grab it, at least.
Perfect. And
Okay.
away from the scary monster thing.
And what are Tie-Dye and Viola doing?
I had 2 other people. Okay, so, Tie-Dye. Tie-Dye has tried to fashion a net-like thing, or, you know, she's working on fashioning a net, but Viola does have a grappling hook. So she would like to move 1 square forward and throw her grappling hook up for her and Tie-Dye to try to climb on up to help Gojo and Reggie with their mission.
Okay, roll an ability check. Agility.
Oh, no, sorry, wrong character. I apologize. There's so many to manage.
That should have been -2 instead. So 13.
There
From
you go.
this distance, why not? The grappling hook clings on up there. It's a fairly easy shot. And do you have
Perfect.
a rope
I'm
to go
sure
with
it
that
takes
grappling hook?
Tie-Dye and Viola's entire turn to climb up to the top of the thing.
Okay.
That'll end my turn, sir.
Okay, and that will bring us to Dave's gang. No. Naga's gang. No. Bailey's gang. No. Vexen's gang.
There you go.
I definitely feel like that was intentional.
That one was intentional.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh god. That reminds me of a joke I want to share, but I know we don't have time.
So Eli is going to have an epiphany from God and feel like being next to this door is probably not the best thing, so he's going to move over here. And then we're going to do Bunce next. He is going to, no longer being on fire with a piece of chainmail over his face, he's going to try to waft and shake the golden censer in the direction of the fiery monstrosity that's trying to kill him.
Okay. And the fiery monstrosity goes from like kind of aggressively wibbly wobbling around with tongues of tar flinging at everyone. It just sort of calms down and sinks back into the pool of ichor from whence it came, still on fire. And I assume Bunce is gonna, step out of the way of the fire. Yeah,
Bunce is definitely gonna get out of the way.
And while this incense that you have in the censer burns, it seems as though this creature is calm. And given the amount of people you have in here, you have plenty of time to loot the stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and end the combat.
Okay.
All right.
Are we able to loot the pseudopod? Is that a lootable? Because it showed up as one.
Yeah, it's any attack that you put is technically a lootable item in this system.
I
But
know,
no,
I know how the lootables. I know how the lootables thing works, and I was making that joke as a GM who has repeatedly had to make sure that things that were like items for a creature were not lootable. I know what happened with the module. I was joking.
It was funny. I noticed the horse hoof was lootable earlier, and I was like,
Yes.
I'm just gonna leave it.
I have time. Can I equip my chainmail?
Yeah. Now you
Can
guys
I-
have plenty of time to equip the chainmail and various other
Is
things.
there
you
any
picked up.
chance that Igor's god of death made him survive this?
There is not, but
Okay.
he did give him a gentle passing to the afterlife.
Oh, that is comforting to know.
Could I loot Igor?
Yes, I was
Yes,
just gonna say
yeah.
I'll make him lootable.
Yes, we've already established, right, that kind of the whole point of this game is to cannibalize the fallen. So
Wealth by attrition.
I definitely have no objection to Igor being looted for that purpose. That is kind of the purpose.
I'm gonna walk out, and Hans helped you dig the hole, right?
Yes, Hans was very helpful. Yes.
Okay. Bunce is going to try and give Hans 40 copper pieces because he helped dig the hole.
Oh yeah.
He feels like, because he didn't help dig the hole, and part of the money that he didn't know how much you took. This is his technically because he was the one who assisted the gravedigger.
Yeah. So, how much am I getting? I gotta go to. How much is Hans
I
getting?
think you had. Let's see. Hang on. There should be a thing.
Well, I
49,
mean, I
think,
know what
yeah, 40.
Igor. Well, no, Igor had more than just that on him, though. Like so, Igor had. Oh, we already turned him into a fucking loot pile.
He had 49.
Hold on.
Igor had 49.
Igor had. Shoot! It even pops up as a loot pile when I try and click his character sheet in the actors. Wow, that's rough. That's rough. I'm trying to look at my dead character sheet. Like, nope, you're just a loot pile. fuck that.
Igor had 49 copper on him, and Bunce is just going to give that to
Hans. Okay, so Hans
Yeah.
just gets all 49 copper.
yeah.
I'm down with that. So wait, what's
Yeah.
42 plus 49? You're making me math. Give me a
That
second.
would be 91.
Thank you.
91.
Thank you.
Bunce is absolutely going to keep the shovel, though.
Oh yeah, no, you're good.
He's like, once this head comes off, this will make a good walking stick.
Does anybody have a decent strength score that could use a mace?
Hans.
All right, go ahead and grab a mace. Dopey will give it to you.
Now, unfortunately, as discussed, as peasants, you are not trained with weapons of war unless your occupation says otherwise, which none of you have. So you'll roll a d10 to hit rather than a d20 when attempting to use things other than your starting weapons. Now, if you find good enough weapons, that could be worth it.
What about one of those chainmails? Is one of those chainmails available for Hans? Because like his pitchfork is pretty decent, and he's proficient with it. I would rather just keep the pitchfork weapon because it's a good weapon. It's
Okay.
but like armor would be good also for him.
Unfortunately, Gojo already bought the chainmail off of Dopey.
Can we trade a dead guy's shovel for one of the chainmails?
Hey, Judge, can you add a chainmail to Bunce's character sheet? Since he had one thrown on him. Actually, just add it to Solaire. Because Bunce won't wear it.
There should be 3 chainmails total.
Yes.
I don't know how they ended up getting divvied up among you. Solaire just got one.
So the question is, can Hans get one of them? Because he doesn't need the mace as much as he does the armor.
Solaire has 2 HP.
Hans
So that's why I gave him the armor.
Hans has the same number. Matter of fact, the most well, actually, wait, is it Reggie? I think Reggie is I think my Reggie has my highest HP. Yeah, Reggie has the highest HP. Both Hans and Igor had 2.
Oh, I know.
Anyway, if there's not enough to distribute, there's not enough to distribute. But Hans would definitely value the armor over the weapon.
Biolage will give you her chainmail. Will you unequip that from my character?
Sure. And I will add one.
I checked my
to...
alignment and I was like, what would she actually do? And that's what she would do.
And Hans is also lawful. Hans has been the one who has been, if you hadn't noticed, like actually trying to be like, yes, let's follow in the footsteps of our fallen knight, Damon brother.
Well, that's why I checked my
person.
alignment. I was like, wait a second, what would she do? Okay, in this situation, knowing how much stronger I am than you on HP, I would give you the chainmail.
And Hans has a 17 strength and a 15 personality for
nice.
so if we're going into actually wait, personality you said was cleric, right?
Yep.
So like this is some like paladin level fucking shit that Hans is trying to be.
Yeah, I'm about to say it sounds like a paladin in the making.
Yeah. And then Reggie is just being the hiding coward and isn't asking for anything because he doesn't want to be noticed even by you guys.
You have received your chainmail, sir.
Fantastic.
Just as a heads up, everyone, I just noticed that the chainmail doesn't automatically add the armor, so make sure your AC is adjusted properly once you put on the chainmail.
I was at a 9. I'm at a 14 now. So yes.
Yep, I changed that one. That's what I noticed.
You made the change. Got it. Okay.
Okay, so the group of peasants, and then there were 10, as the group of peasants gathers outside of the room of which The incense was wafting out, as well as the smell of charred bodies of their friends, and the room has been looted. And they stand at the base of the wall, which now has... By the way, the grappling hook didn't have rope, but what I'm going to say is you just tossed the grappling hook up to Hans, who then tied on a vine or something and wedged it up there. So you guys have a grappling hook with vines, pretty easy way to climb the wall. You also have the well, the fallen section of wall, the chasm, as well as the courtyard itself, an iron barred door, and that you now know leads to a tower full of dangerous looking beastmen. What would you all like to do next?
I just want to throw out there, who could have possibly guessed that a character named Igor Mortis would die so soon?
I would like to shut and bar that door where the ooze was behind.
Okay.
So Larry's gonna do that. And then he wants to come over here and investigate this chasm.
Okay, so you check out this chasm, and it's very chasmy, but as well, it's this yawning sinkhole, and it looks like it's devoured nearly a third of this castle and courtyard. There was a wall, a tower and wall that used to be there, but they've plunged down into the depths. There's mist billowing up from the sinkhole that obscures light, and as you look, as the mist kind of rises out of the sinkhole, you notice that briefly it will assume the form of a tortured face or a writhing body in pain before it continues up skyward, losing that form.
Okay. Blair's like, no, I'm good. I'm all good off that. Above my pay grade.
Hold on.
Above my pay grade.
Hold on, Solaire. Not so fast. As you approach
Run away!
close to this chasm, the ground began to give way beneath you. Make a reflex save.
Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh. What are we doing? That's a
Dying.
That's a 9.
You're dying from some dumbass bullshit. That's what's happening right now.
You all see Solaire walk to the edge of the yawning chasm, and the ground begins to give way, and he turns around, giving his best chance to grasp onto something, but it just continues to fall away. He's crawling toward you all, but eventually the sinkhole swallows him whole.
I love
and he
how I could
falls.
actually like zoom in and zoom out to like make an earthquake effect. Y'all see that?
And he
That-
falls hundreds of feet to his death. You
Oh.
hear him screaming. He falls so long and far that you hear the screaming disappear into the distance before you hear a thud. You can only assume he's collided with something at the bottom. Perhaps he's fallen into an infinitely large hole.
I mean,
As of now, you can only guess.
I'm sorry for Joe and his the character he lost, but I just want to say that was just so goddamn old school D&D right there. Just that was
awesome.
straight out of like Gygax's freaking Tomb of Horrors. You're just gonna look over the edge. You're just gonna go over there to the chasm. Oh, let me check it out, and the floor falls out from under you, and you're dead. Like that was just so goddamn old school. I loved it for that, if nothing else.
And then there were 9.
Oh God. I don't know.
We now only have 2 sets of chainmail.
Oh shit, yeah, because like we can't even recover what happened to that body, right? Fuck.
I mean, you could try. You might all become bodies.
No, I'm pretty sure neither of my characters are gonna, abandon the forward progress to go find that body at the bottom.
Okay, so the other 9 peasants gathered in the courtyard. What would you like to do next?
Do we see what happens with Solaire when he leaves?
Absolutely, yeah. You see him walk over to the chasm. He's like, "I'll check this out." Some strange faces and writhing bodies appear next to him. He goes and takes a look over the edge, and then, and yeah, you see the whole struggle of him trying to survive. You see it all.
Oh my god. Okay, Tie-Dye the Halfling is gonna rush up to his brother, Bunt, and be like, I'm afraid your brother may have just perished.
Yeah,
He was an idiot.
Reggie will just like pop out from behind the dead horse he's been hiding behind and say, "Ya think?"
He was an idiot. Not every family is full of bright bulbs, and that one wasn't. Brave, but stupid.
Well, damn.
I
Take the
got.
time to warn her nothing.
I just want
I
to.
mourned him. I mourned him
'Cause-
when he was 9 and got hit in the head by a horse. I mourned him. Then
So we got about at least as far as Dominic said he had to left in his system tonight. We've got maybe like 15-20 minutes, so we want to be heading towards the close of the session. But I want to ask, like, have we done what is necessary to get past level 0 yet?
Oh, no.
So we had 2 like deadly encounters and still are not past level 0.
Yeah, the end of this adventure will be level. You'll know.
Yeah.
When you've reached the incredibly climactic end, you'll know for sure.
Well, no, I get that. I'm just again calling attention to the system and like, wow, you know, I definitely would have leveled up a party by now after this much time adventuring in 5e, or even in Pathfinder. Typically, just going a session and a half, session or 2 or whatever. That's but no, man. This is that brutal, right? This is that. Whew.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because if you fight creatures who can kill you in one hit in D&D or Pathfinder, their CR is so high, you're just getting like a bajillion experience points. But in this, it's the way the experience works normally is you get like 1 experience point per challenge overcome, and you only need like 10 experience or so to level up. But in this funnel, it's differently. It's more milestone or.
And I feel like that's what I'm trying to call attention to is as we close, I want to look at the differences of this system versus other systems. And how about, I know you're the judge, but I'm the showrunner. And let's close out and I really want to talk about the differences between this system and the systems that everybody is familiar with. And that also relieves a little pressure on Dominic for trying to fill in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, we can definitely do that if you'd like. I think the biggest one is just a tonal thing where like in this game, I think I mentioned in the beginning of the first session, it's kind of the system is optimized to produce like epic moments and silly moments, and I love that about it.
I want to call back to when we were encountering those beastmen, right? And then you had to roll to see what kind of beastmen, and there was a maggoty beastman, and then a I can't remember what the other one was, but and let me ask you a question on mechanical
it was a
level.
feathered bird person.
Feathered bird person, thank you. So on a mechanical level, I want to ask you on the Foundry level, does this system have that built in for you to make that change?
No, it's not built in. So a couple things. One, this adventure that we're running right now exists as something Goodman Games sells pre-built for Foundry. I chose not to purchase it, but rather build it myself so I'd get better understanding of how the system works in Foundry.
Okay.
So perhaps if you buy the pre-made version of this adventure, they would already have it done. However, I made the roll table myself from the roll table in the book using a module called Easy Table.
Oh, interesting.
Cool.
No, that's valuable information right there. And I'm going to have to look into this Easy Table because I already know for a fact I have games that would benefit from those kinds of quick table generation.
It's super nice. You can just copy and paste a table into like a raw text thing that it gives you, and then it automatically makes the rollable table for you. Typically, you have to tinker with it a bit, but way less than copy and pasting like 25 entries of data.
Yeah, that's because I have a personal crit fail, crit success table that all of my players love. It's super balanced. It's not one of those ones that is designed to just kill you, but just designed to add flavor to combat. And I would love to, add that to Foundry. So easy table. That's a mod I'm gonna have to add to my own setup.
Unless you have a habit of rolling 95s or higher.
I mean, oh God, yes. So specifically, I feel like I should let you take over the story, but Naga has this tendency to roll very, very high on my crit fail table and keeps knocking himself the fuck out.
Yep. Literally fall and smash your head and knock yourself out.
I mean, but that's the worst thing that happens on this table.
It is.
It's the worst thing that happens on this table is you slip and fall and knock yourself the fuck out. So it's a fairly it's a correct me if I'm wrong, Naga. Like my crit success, crit fail table, it is designed to add flavor and not penalize.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, even if it did, the moments that it's added for me at least have been so damn funny that I wouldn't care.
Yeah, it's just you just keep rolling high on it, and the highest thing that happens is you slip and fall and knock yourself the fuck out. So you've spent just a ton of time unconscious in my games.
Yeah.
Them's the dice. That's all we can say.
Yep.
Okay, I want to hear from other people. Let's talk about your experiences with other games. And I know I spoke up and Naga spoke up, but Bailey and Joe, how would you compare this to other games you've played? And I want to include both modern and old school games in that question.
So I have to say that it's just a touch harder to figure out exactly which skill I'm going to use for which thing I'm going to ask the DM to do. But as long as Dominic has the knowledge of what skill that's going to be, it's not even a problem. I just have to figure out what imaginative fun thing I want to do and whether or not my background can attribute to that, and he'll tell me what I need to roll for that.
So
I'm into that.
If I can rephrase your response, you're talking specifically about how you're being used to having like, here's the skills you can use, and you're like, I want to do a performance check, but performance check doesn't exist in this game, so you just have to describe what you're doing, and you either get a bonus or a negative if it has anything to do with your profession.
Yeah, he'll tell me if it's luck, or he'll tell me if it's, agility or dexterity, constitution, whatever.
And I want to say I find that both limiting and freeing at the same time. Right? So,
well, the thing is, I don't know what the bonus is until after I describe what I want to do, and he tells me which skill I can use.
Right.
Because it could be a negative if the thing I'm trying to do is a dexterity and I have no dexterity, but it could be a bonus if it's a luck check and I have fucking fantastic luck.
Well, and that almost even feels like somewhat of a callback to the really, really old school first edition, where it was just a GM behind a screen rolling a d20 to determine everything, right? Like even the player characters, they had their character sheets and they had their bonuses and whatever, but the roles themselves were still just done by the GM behind closed behind a like there's a I feel like the oh wow, my voice cracked there. I feel like the lack of skills, right, adds to that kind of old school element where the GM is just in control of so much, like, and the players are just making choices within. I mean, even like Zork, you know what I'm talking about? Like, all you get to do is like type in a simple command and see what happens.
My point is that I love it, not that I hate it.
No. But
yes, I'm going to describe what I want to do, and it might be a bonus, it might be a negative, but whatever. Like, I'm playing the game, and I'm getting to do it in a fun way that like each individual character wants to do. And yeah, some of my characters are cowards, some of my characters are brave, but
and hopefully
whatever.
You know that I was yes-anding there. I was yes-anding there. But go ahead.
I was just going to say an interesting point, like you said, the DM is in control of so much. One way I feel like this game could fall apart and people could have a bad time is if the DM is like a gotcha DM, which is something that typically happens with newer people. If you're out there and you want to play and you're going through that right now, either one of your friends is DMing and you feel like he's a gotcha DM, or you're DMing yourself and you feel like you need to, and you feel like you're gotchaing your players too much. Keep pushing through it. It's an experience thing, but like for a lot of people, me personally, I started DMing when I was like a teenager.
I mean, like, this game doesn't need a gotcha DM, right? This game already gotchas enough.
Exactly, but yeah, like as a teenager playing with our friends, the table culture was very much like kind of adversarial between the GM and the players, where the GM was trying to use monsters to kill them. But then, as we grew and matured as role players and TTRPG players, we all discovered that actually what's more fun is when the GM is rooting for the players to succeed. They've made challenges and obstacles which clearly are, opposed to the goals of the players, but the player himself, the human, the GM, wants the players to succeed. And I think you kind of need that mindset to go into this because, like you said, Dave, there's already enough gotchas. Imagine if I was like trying to find every reason not to allow your occupation to roll a skill rather than trying to find every reason to let your occupation roll a skill. It's going to be unfun really fast. So that is maybe something that's not necessarily a negative of the game, but a consideration. If your play group is still, if you feel like you need a more rigid set of rules to hold your GM back from just constantly screwing you over every time you try to do something, maybe you're not quite ready for this game yet. Maybe you still need to stick to something like a 3.5 or a 5e, which has a more rigid rule structure where you can kind of hold each other accountable to the letter of the law.
And I want to say, for those who have played with me, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm more of the opposite of that kind of GM. I don't want I want my players to succeed. So like just that desire for my players to succeed. I don't consider myself, it's the GM versus the player. I'm not playing against my players. It's not a me versus them game. It is I'm facilitating the story, and that's my job, is to facilitate the story. And my job of facilitating the story means I have to keep facilitating that story. And if everybody dies, that story isn't being facilitated. So, TPKs happen, and I want to avoid them, but like they happen. If they happen, they happen. But at the same time, I want to find reasons for my players to succeed rather than reasons for my players to fail. And this is just one of those systems where you cannot have a GM who is looking for reasons for their players to fail, because they will. They absolutely will.
Mm-hmm.
And to go way back to your other point about how you find the skill system both limiting and
yes,
and freeing, I totally agree, because I feel like as players in more modern games, I've gotten so accustomed to opening my character sheet, looking at my skills, being like, okay, I'm like pretty good at this, pretty bad at that, and pretty decent at these. How can I fit what I'm good at to the situation, and then kind of doing that backbending to play. So it is definitely like a whole different mindset to just be like, okay, well, this was my job in the past and I want to do this.
And this is, like I
something
said,
can line
more
up?
in tune with first edition, when because if you think about it, all of these later editions, these later editions were attempts to add mechanics to the abstract things that players were trying to do in earlier editions, and GMs did not have specific rules to govern them. And and the old school style relies less on those specific rules and more on GM interpretation and player ingenuity.
It's also interesting because, like, in 5e or something, like we have Reggie the Mariner, for example, the Halfling Mariner,
who is just cowardly as fuck and staying out of everything he can stay out of. Because I'm gonna have a character survive, and that's how I decided to do it.
But if you think, like, if I made a character whose backstory is that he was a halfling sailor I'll use Pathfinder First Edition just because I know it better. I'll still have a bunch of skill points, and I want to spend those skill points on things that will be useful in the game. So in this case, you wanted to do some tracking of the tracks, but you're like, oh, we're a mariner, we're on land. That literally wouldn't make any sense, and then we played it that way. But in Pathfinder First Edition, I might have put a skill point in survival just because I know that's a skill that gets rolled a lot. And it's something that is also used for, like, nautical navigation in that game.
Right, because it's a more mechanically based system.
Yeah, and then we end up in a situation where I want to track, oh, well, I'm good at survival, I can do it. So you kind of lose the flavor of the occupation your character had in the past because the mechanics give you, a different direction, which I love those games, but it is, we're talking about the differences. That's another difference, is this system really lets you lean into, like, the fact that your character was this in the past, and what does that make them good at now.
I want to cut you off for 100% selfish reasons, and that is to throw a shout out to somebody who just followed us right now in the middle of the stream. Better Lucky Than Good. Thank you for joining us, Better Lucky Than Good. And I also want to say we are only 2 subscribers away from being at 200. So help us hit that mark if you're listening, and please follow the channel. And I will say, I think this is also, we stretched it out long enough where you said you had to call it out and call it a night, Dominic. So let's wrap things up for the session. And I want to say, I know you and me dominated that conversation there at the end, but hopefully other players might want to weigh in slightly, and I want to give you guys the opportunity to weigh in slightly on that last little bit where we were talking about the difference between modern games and older games. So I'm sure Joe, at the very least, has some kind of opinion on that.
I do. There's a couple things that I want to say. One, I do love the fact that in this game, it feels very much like GURPS when you take damage. Everything does damage. It's not like a specific type of damage, at least not yet. But as far as the fire, it did 3 damage. The pole the staff that I hit the ooze with did 2 damage. In GURPS, if you get hit by an arrow, you will take X amount of damage. If you get ran over by a car, you take X amount of damage. It's very deadly. And I love that about older style games, and I love that about this game, because having to constantly figure out what you're resistant to, what you're immune to, and so on and so forth can be a little tedious at later levels in modern games. But I do love that. To caveat off what Bailey said earlier, the skills are very fluid, which reminds me a lot of when I used to play World of Darkness, and how you would figure out what ability score fit with the skill, and then what associated skill you would have that could potentially work with it, because you got skills based off of what your character did earlier in your life. So I do like that too. It's very fun. And one thing I want to caveat, just because of what happened when Bunce was praying as he was on fire, I do feel like Dominic is implementing, if not consciously, subconsciously, the rule of cool. If it sounds fun, you will be more likely to do it than be told, I don't know if you have a relevant skill, but if you say, like, hey, I'm doing it in this way, in this fashion, it sounds appealing to the crowd or to the rest of the players, he would be more likely to let you do it.
Yeah. Exactly. It's the, if you got a good enough description, you get the role, period. Right?
Yeah.
You know?
There's a game that I used to play that was called Exalted. It's another.
I know that game.
Another
yes,
like,
I know Exalted. Yes.
And one of the things in Exalted was it wasn't called the rule of cool, but it was basically the rule of cool. If you could describe what you wanted your character to do, and you did it in a badass way, you would get bonuses based on how badass the DM and the players.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dominic, but there's elements to that in this. If I was paying attention to the videos and whatever, but how you describe things definitely does influence how you might get a bonus or whatever to doing stuff in this game. Yes.
In a way, I think it's more. Less like you get numerical bonuses to doing things for your descriptions, and more just since the mechanical elements of what is possible are stripped so far back, the judge has more wiggle room to allow wacky things to happen. Like,
that makes sense.
In Pathfinder, if you try to trip something, you roll a check against a number. If you succeed, you trip, which gives XYZ. Boom, boom, boom. By the book, all done. And this, if you try to trip something and push it into a pit, since there's no rules to like
And
that exact situation.
And I made the
can
mistake of trying to
with
just go in and be pious as fuck and hope that would save me, but it did not.
It almost worked. If that thing had missed
So-
one attack and you picked up that sensor, you would have basically just beaten that encounter without anyone taking damage. You were one low attack roll by the black tar thing away from that being an excellent plan.
I mean,
but unfortunately.
So I have a question, Dominic. If I were to say that I wanted, just as an example, I want to hit something with my staff, right? I would roll an attack roll of a d20. But if I were to say I would like to take my staff, hold it in a quarter stance, and then move forward 5 feet as I am swinging my staff, and jive at the right second just to aim for a low spot, would I be still rolling just a standard d20, or would I get to roll like a agility check and then and if I succeed the agility check, instead of rolling a d20, I would roll a d4 or a d24?
So in that case, that's still an attack in my book, and it would be handled with the d20. However, what it really sets apart this system from others as far as things like that is warriors and dwarves have something called the deed die. Every time they roll an attack, they roll their deed die, and when the deed so if you were a warrior and you did that, then I would set a DC on the deed die. So your base as a level 1 warrior is a D4. So I would say, okay, that's a 3. That's like a 3 DC deed. So you'd roll your attack and the deed die. If your deed die was a 3 or a 4, you would then hit your attack and have an extra effect based on your description. So that kind of stuff in this system is reserved for warriors and dwarfs, which are basically warriors, to give them kind of that extra coolness of focusing on being a melee combatant.
So let me conclude, because this is definitely the time for us to get ready to say our good nights to the audience. But let me say that I feel for this learn to play that we as players still definitely need a better understanding of how the dice chain thing works. So maybe next session we can make sure that there is some play with the dice chain so that we can demonstrate that here in the show. Okay.
I will, I'll try to set up some situations where that can happen. To Joe's question, if another one of your allies was like holding another creature's arms behind its back while you attacked it, that might be a situation where you then go up the dice chain to a d24.
Right, so the dice chain kind of, if my understanding is correct, simulates like advantage disadvantage in a sense, not exactly, but
I think it's a very good analog. Yeah, it's a great comparison.
But I feel like our next session should demonstrate that in some ways.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So we are definitely here at the end of our session. Thank you very much for those of you who have been tuning in. We had a couple of new followers, and I'm proud to announce that we are 2 followers right now, 2 followers away from hitting 200. So please, if you have enjoyed watching our show, tell your friends and tell them to follow Sputter Media. And next week we are going to be session 2 of Dungeon Crawl Classics, because we started with session 0. So this is today was our first session, right? And I got nothing else to say. Everybody, say goodnight if you want to.
I think I'm the only person with 3 characters left still. So I'm looking forward to 2 character deaths next week. Good night, everyone.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody. And by all means, join our Discord.
Absolutely. Yes, we do have a Sputter Media Discord. And let me actually, I can pop the link of that in the chat really quick if I'm.
You can do it, Dave.
Oh, you beat me to it, you bastard! I love you. So yes, join the Sputter Media Discord and follow us. And I mean, I kind of just want to throw that quick, Sputter coupon code for W Energy, the energy drink of the future. Go ahead and go to w.gg and purchase your amazing drink order with our coupon code Purple Nurple. And I will see you all next week, and I'll see some of you guys this weekend.
Yep.
Bye-bye
Have a
now.
good night, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody. Remember to tip your disc jockey.
Good night.
Yes.